Brooklyn Independent Television.
Welcome to Brooklyn Review. I'm Brian Vines. Shirley Anita St. Hill Chisholm was a Brooklyn-born force of nature. A first-generation American born to parents of Caribbean descent, Ms. Chisholm's life work was to give voice to the voiceless and improve the lives of those yet to realize any real American dream. And she knew that started with children. Recently, a state office building in Brooklyn was dedicated in her honor.
We thought that it was appropriate to designate this building in someone's honor. And once we concluded that was the appropriate way to go, the clear choice was Shirley Chisholm. In 2007, then Governor Eliot Spitzer was threatening to shut down this building as a facility for state offices and to sell it to a developer who was going to, in all likelihood, turn it into luxury condominiums that nobody in this community could afford. We stopped the sale, but then decided that we needed to make sure that this building had an identity, which then led to the birth of the idea to rename it after Shirley Chisholm.
She knocked down all the barriers. Those imagined and those unimagined, she shattered them. In 1964, she was elected to the New York State Assembly. In 1968, she was elected to the House of Representatives, making her the first African-American woman to achieve that height. She was assigned to the Agriculture Committee. Well, let me tell you, there are no more farms in 1968 in Brooklyn than there are now. So Shirley Chisholm told them she wasn't going to serve on the Agriculture Committee. They had a big fight, and when it was over, she was sitting on the Education and Labor Committee, where she got to number 3 in the country on her retirement in 1982.
She was the only black woman in the Congress from the state of New York in the 20th century. I am the only black woman in the Congress from the state of New York in the 21st century. When I step on the floor, they know don't even play. A sister from Brooklyn is in the house, and Shirley Chisholm paved the way.
In her bold and unprecedented quest to lead the nation as president, she was a startling and stunning woman of courage, of intellect, of righteousness and compassion. She was a role model for me and for every girl and woman of my generation.
The last thing she said to me was, remember that it may not be you, but if you have a plan, it could be somebody else. And so when I think about Congresswoman Chisholm, and I read the bio, and they talked about maybe she didn't make the presidency, but she left the door ajar. Look at what happened when that door was ajar.
She made Jesse Jackson think he could run for president in 1984. She made none other than Governor Doug Wilder think he could run for president in 1992. And she made Barack Obama think he could run for president in 2008. And he became the president of the United States, thanks to Shirley Chisholm.
We were having dinner with the Prime Minister of Trinidad, and she said, Shirley Chisholm, what can we do next? And I said, why don't we name a battleship? So Congresswoman Maloney, you're gonna have to look around for not one of the ones that's retired now, one that's active.
I want history to remember me, not that I was the first black woman to be elected to the Congress, not as the first black woman to have made a bid for the presidency of the United States, but as a black woman who lived in the 20th century and who dared to be herself. I want to be remembered as a catalyst for change in America.
Download this program's podcast on iTunes. Keywords Brooklyn Independent Television.